Hello, and welcome to the 150th anniversary Film Ireland podcast. We've recently been demoted from iTunes for getting just about too massive, and now we're back on SoundCloud, so this is kind of an inaugural one for us again. We're back in the basement. Rory has apparently escaped.
Or died, it's unclear.
Where we found chewed through ropes, and at least 3 of the 5 tins of dog food I've left here are untouched. So I can only gather that he left at some point in the last 7 days. Hopefully he's out there watching movies somewhere, and he'll be back to talk about them again sometime soon. But for the moment, I've had to garner up some new Film Ireland plebs. Here I have with me Richard Drumm. And,
hello.
Oh my God, I've forgotten your name.
My name is Jonathan Victory. I am here of my own free will.
Is Victory really your second name?
Yes, I would. If I was gonna make up a name, I wouldn't pick one as obviously fake as Victory. You know?
I don't know, McLovin. I mean, anyway.
Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, but yeah, no, I'll power through.
Don't worry. I know you can't hear this, but you can't hear the smell of aloe vera tissues. That's exactly what Jonathan's reeking up the place with. The sort of musky scent of death is gone from the cellar. I'm kind of upset about that personally.
I'm getting the musk over here. Maybe it's just wafting your direction.
Oh, well, maybe the musk is me.
Maybe I'm dead. I was never here at all.
I don't know, you're that sort of pallid pale. The only way to really know will be to check your pulse, Richard. Anyway, we're going to boost right into news. We're current as ever. We're going to just talk about our wee reaction to the Oscars. I did an interview with a Master Studies in UCD there last week just about this. She's publishing like a magazine or something.
Right.
And I found I had some interesting things to say, which is why I decided to repeat them right here. You heard them here second. Lads, what do you think of the night that was? Richard, you're probably unhappy about Birdman getting so much, but then again, you didn't like Boyhood.
Exactly. I'm actually happy that Birdman rather than Boyhood won. Boyhood won the one thing it deserved to win, which was Patricia Arquette, and that was it. So yeah, Birdman, I don't hate Birdman.
Patricia Arquette.
That's all that deserved to win for Boyhood.
I didn't know she was a prize. No, yeah, she was. She was very good. But what did you think of Birdhood taking it home?
Birdhood.
A
crossover.
That was fine. I mean, Whiplash obviously would prefer to win everything, but
Me too. Yeah.
it was never going to win everything. So yeah, Birdman, yeah, grand, whatever. It's fine. It's a perfectly okay movie. The Oscars is perfectly okay. They're made for each other. Good times.
Yeah, I would, out of those films nominated, I thought Birdman definitely deserved.
I know you
most.
did.
Yeah. Well, no,
You see, I think like Whiplash was the best movie of last year. I think ideally that would have won, but I did love Birdman.
That's definitely not correct.
I loved Birdman though, so I'm perfectly happy with Birdman winning all this thing. I mean, I think one thing that kind of annoyed me is that in the screenplay category, Whiplash didn't win and The Imitation Game did, but then the guy who wrote The Imitation Game gave a very good speech, so...
He did, yeah. He did, but The Imitation Game as a whole was just...
It was perfectly adequate.
Yeah,
perfectly adequate, but like Whiplash was a great script, though.
The story itself was just more interesting than the film turned out to be, which is always a bit of a bummer as I'm concerned. For a film that the speech was very moving, and all that, so the heart was definitely in the right place with that screenplay. But for a film that, and I've said this before in the podcast, that sort of went out of its way to highlight homophobia in post-war Britain up until I think the 1970s, it really shied away from homosexuality as a topic.
I thought the same thing, because when I saw it the first time, I didn't think they really addressed it at all, and then suddenly the last kind of text scroll, like, oh, that's what the message was, right? That didn't come through at all for the last 2 hours.
The other thing I'd say about the Oscars is that in the Best Actress category, I was really hoping Marion Cotillard would win for 2 Days, One Night, because she was fantastic in that, but I'm happy enough Julianne Moore winning, I think she deserved to, she was due an Oscar, and she's apparently very good in this Still Alice thing, but... Yeah,
haven't seen Still Alice, seen 2 Days, One Night. I thought, Marion Cotillard was very good in it, but at the same time, I totally see where the Academy were going with it. It was like when Paul Newman won for The Colour of Money, it was just like, it was kind of getting late and they realised they hadn't given her an Oscar yet. She's deserved to win one for several years now, so it's all good that she's got a statue as far as I'm concerned, because Marion Cotillard has one already for, to be honest, a film that I didn't think was even that great.
Well, I mean, I was happy like she was even just recognised over nomination, because I thought it was great. I really liked that movie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought it was very good. Now, moving slightly along that, I didn't think there was any major surprises. I was pretty happy with most of the categories.
One big travesty was that the Lego Movie didn't win Best Song.
I totally agree with that.
I haven't seen Selma. I'm sure the song is very moving and impactful and meaningful.
The song is very good. Selma itself a little bit dull. Yeah. But the part where the song is used is nearly the best part of the film. The end credits. The end credits are actually very cool. No, they're
That's not really.
There's great sequences in Selma, but overall, it's only all right. But no, one thing that I did very much realize about the Oscars in a recent rewatch of Dan Gilroy's fantastic film Nightcrawler, even better the second time around. I decided for myself, and I think this is wholeheartedly true, that film probably would have taken home an Oscar were it in a different language, because when it comes to dark subject matter, the Academy ain't shy. Look at the
You're a very cynical young man, Donnchadh, aren't you?
Tell me that ain't true. If that, look at the nomination. Did anybody? First of all, I think the foreign language category. From what I had seen this year, everything was brilliant. I'd seen Ida Wild Tales.
Ida was great.
And Leviathan. I would have given it to Leviathan personally, but from what I'd
Didn't
seen,
see it.
Leviathan was terrific.
Ida is a great director, so like I'm happy Ida won. So
cool. But my point being that I really would have thought I do think Nightcrawler and darker English language films would be recognised.
For the sake of proving your point, remake Nightcrawler next year on your own, off your own back, and just put it in like Irish or something and see what happens. Not in Irish, no.
No, not
a
Irish.
sexier language than Irish.
Plus the Irish isn't big enough to garner a mass media.
We're not a foreign language now, are we not?
No, we're a domestic. But I mean, at the same time, there's not enough of a population. What are you going to do? Have a bunch of competing gnarly T.G. Caher journalists?
Actually sounds kind of amazing.
I suppose.
Shoot it in like the Boglands, yeah, that'd be great.
no, this actually sounds brilliant. I want this to happen now.
Well, you take full charge of that because I am no longer interested in the subject. But I do think that there's genuinely something in that. I personally, out of any of the films, I think Nightcrawler was better than Whiplash. I think it was better than Birdman. I think it was better
than Birdman.
Yeah. Not better than Whiplash. No?
I really like Whiplash. I love Nightcrawler too. I don't know. That's kind of pick between
Whiplash,
babies.
I gotta say, was the biggest underwhelmer for me last year. I'd still think it was a 5-star film, but for all everybody was saying about it, let me down. I was just like, it was. When I saw the trailer, I thought brilliant, and then it was exactly as brilliant as I thought it would have been from the trailer. But the chit chat everybody was giving me in between me seeing the trailer and the film left it falling short for me.
See, I was the reverse. I saw the trailer and went, that looks alright. J.K. Simmons looks fun. Then I saw it and was completely blown away by it. So I don't know.
Like, for instance, I thought there was an unnecessary jump from reality that the film didn't need when he got into a car crash and went anyway. I
know what you mean. I
just didn't
that.
think that worked with the rest of the film.
Okay, I actually thought it was the end of the film the first time around. Like that would be a decent point to end it on. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I kind of felt a bit unnecessary in hindsight.
The ending I thought was great.
I love the ending.
Yeah, the ending was really
I think that's why people are talking about it so much, because the ending is so strong that it elevates the rest of it by proxy.
Yeah, you're like physically shaking in the cinema. I think it's going to be on film studies courses in the future. There's just something. I mean, won the Oscar for editing rightly. It's very well edited. It should have won for writing because it's so characters are all set up. The world they're sort of operating in is so well set up. I mean, I think it's going to be remembered in years or it should be. It's a good case study of
more than Boyhood will anyway.
I don't actually think there'll be many memorable things from the Oscars this year. I was
saying earlier on there was nothing really in this year's list.
The one film that I think from last year that will really last and stand the test of time and probably be studied, I think will be Nightcrawler.
Hopefully.
I think everything from it down to the original soundtrack that seems to it's gas the way it juxtaposes imagery with how nice everything sounds, and that's just because that's the way Lou Bloom's feeling like when he's dragging that body to set up the shot, and it's like the soundtrack is of an epiphany. It's fantastic.
Initially, the soundtrack was my one major gripe with that movie, but kind of thinking about it more, that actually was a genius selection of our soundtrack. It was just really kind of patriotic American sounding, but it works very well.
It reminded me, have you ever seen Aaron Morris's debut documentary Gates of Heaven?
No.
It's a film that seems to very much be about one very dexterous subject matter, that being a pet cemetery and people's belief in an afterlife, and then basically as it goes around to interviewing everybody involved in the project, it transposes to be a film about what you consider success to be, because the guy who runs the cemetery considers it a successful business. His brother who keeps the grass is basically just trying to, he just likes a peaceful life, and it's very interesting. And more interesting again, it's when Aaron Morris initially proposed the idea, of course, to Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog, who considered Morris a genius but incapable of completing a project, said to him that if he ever completed the project, he would eat his own shoe.
Oh, this is what that was from.
Right. He cooked and ate his own shoe.
Yeah, I've seen that video. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a short film called Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe, and it's just a 16-minute short about him eating the shoe and talking about that. It was proven wrong. It is
he cooked it with garlic.
And and he had a really elaborate recipe as well. He wasn't just going to eat a shoe, of course. He'd cook it in a proper broth with stuff, and yeah. So.
Well, it's Werner Herzog, of course he would.
Oh, that brilliant man.
Well, brilliant man, and he's going to be directing Edward Cullen of Twilight fame very soon, playing D.E. Lawrence. Well, the film is actually wrapped. It's a film. It's about a female explorer. He's been wanting to make it for years.
I watched that.
His last foray into fictional filmmaking was a very interesting failure. As far as I was, my son, what have you done? Did anyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really boring.
I didn't hate it, but that's because Michael Shannon was there being terrifying, and you could see the Lynch influence, and Grace Zabriskie was just weird.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was just so weird. I found something captivating about it, and just how utterly crazy it was. Like, it was just, yeah.
I agree, nothing really happened in it, though. That's sort of true.
No, but that's a great thing. It's kind of like, afterwards, it's like, there was no point to that, but I still kind of thought, wow.
What are you talking about? Something does happen in it. Like, there's a police siege, William Dafoe turns up, he's great.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Shannon's great. There's somebody gets murdered inside a house. All of that is very interesting. And then, like I say, interesting failure, because I don't know, Herzog just has a tendency to follow his instinct, and his instinct told him that some theatre that Michael Shannon's character was doing recently influenced him in the murdering of his mother, and he focused way too much on that, and it got really boring. It's like his early film Heart of Glass, and Roger Ebert included in his great movie series, and he's just incorrect. It's just extremely boring. Herzog hypnotized all the actors, and they're just really, really shite. But at the same time, it's what they would call an interesting failure. But his next foray into filmmaking is apparently it's going to be slightly epic. It's set like turn of the century when being an explorer still mattered. I'm kind of interested.
It all sounds good, yeah.
That. And Robert Pattinson's in it, who hasn't put a foot wrong since he stepped out of Twilight.
He deserved an Oscar for The Rover, actually, going back to that topic.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't even nominated.
Most unsung performance of last year. Yeah. He was fantastic.
He really was.
Right. Moving right into that, something more close to home and domestic. Let's have a gander at the Jameson Dublin International Film Festival. I was at the launch of that, and I can confirm that at the press launch they had croissants, pain au chocolat, Danish, and maple pecan plat. All very good. I tried each one. Everybody else was being shy. They were only trying one pastry each. I just went for it. A noticeable absence of apple lattice this year.
Disappointing,
but apparently the apple wasn't very fresh last year, so I think they just decided to teach that particular company a lesson. No, that
makes sense.
Lesson or orders, but that said, the pecan plats were amazing.
So 5 stars?
Yeah,
4.5?
5 stars for the Jameson Dublin International Film Festival.
Very good.
As far as I'm concerned. Very, very good. No, let's get on more sort of the topic. 140 films is going to be across a whopping number.
10 days, is it, I think?
140 countries. Films from 40 are coming up in it. And over 10 days exactly. Out in Dundrum, the Pavilion, in Dunleary, it's all very, very interesting.
Dunleary this year as well? That's
and 75% of them will never be screened again. Now, things that I'm interested in seeing. Beirani's 99 Homes, which is his first foray into slightly mainstream filmmaking, that it has Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon. I don't know, has anybody seen any of his films? Man Push Cart, Goodbye Solo, and Chop Shop have all been very, very, very interesting indie fare.
I think I've heard of Chop Shop, that's about it.
Chop Shop is Chop Shop. Chop Shop is a bit of a doozy, and Michael Shannon's involved in this one, so once again, instantly
watchable. Yeah.
Actually, I'm directing a play down in Limerick, shameless plug, right now. The first run of which was Michael Shannon in 1993 playing a 19-year-old character. Can you believe Michael Shannon was once young?
With looking exactly the same, with the same eyes and everything.
But I can't believe you'd cast him as a youth. How could you? Unless it was like
maybe he was attractive back then.
The Omen 2. You
can't see past the hindsight of he was young once, so it's like
But in the upcoming adaptation of Stephen King's The Stand, so far provisional casting for Randall Flagg has been Matthew McConaughey. I would totally.
That's genius casting. Actually,
I would totally go Michael Shannon.
Really?
McConaughey.
No, I think McConaughey actually works that role. That's actually really good casting.
And we've got The Falling, which is an Irish film coming out at it. The film I'm most interested to see in the entire run will be The Tribe, which is a Ukrainian film set in a school for the deaf. There is no subtitles and no dialogue. All sign language. I just think it sounds fascinating.
Yeah, that actually sounds
really, really interesting. And the curator, who was present herself, was very much pushing for people to go and see that one. So I'm quite interested in it. Apart from that, I saw Hardcore Disco looks interesting because the screenshot that they had for it included a Molotov cocktail.
It's promising.
Hello, yeah. Noah Baumbach's While We're Young. I saw his Francis Ha last year, and it was one of the best films I saw last year. I
keep meaning to watch that.
Dearest, which is a child in need film about an abducted child, and it's another one of those Chinese flares that's been released in the last few years. The struggle of the individual against this mal, which is just that always looks interesting to me. The Irish film selection is looking particularly dark. We got a bunch of we got The Price of Desire, first of all, which is a woman building a house. It's predominantly in French, blah blah blah.
Eileen Gray, yeah.
Then we got Glassland, which I'm going to see next Monday out of its general release. Hopefully that'll be good. It's Jared Barrett's. I know, right?
It's weird, like a press screen invite.
Jack Rayner won an acting award at Sundance for it. So.
That's right, yeah. And it also features Toni Collette, who for me is always winner.
Oh, yeah. What's she doing in that movie?
She's like
a Tala mum in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I might have to watch this.
She's kind of the Australian Tilda Swinton.
That's a very specific but accurate way of putting it.
There you go. Let Us Pray.
I'm intrigued by that one. It looks like it's going to be really Irish stupid, films, but Liam Cunningham.
I love a good Irish horror.
Oh no, yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's especially when it's terrible because Liam Cunningham just being Liam Neeson, I guess, in this movie, as it looks like from what I heard. I'll watch it.
Yeah. No, it's good. If anything, if Liam Cunningham ever got Liam Neeson type success, it'd be filmmaking's loss in general. It would. Can you imagine him just punching up? No.
Yeah, I could very easily.
Yeah.
Well, that said, I just was today saying I was sick out of the Liam Neeson movies, so yeah, maybe that shouldn't be happening.
So we got The Canal, From the Dark.
I'm very intrigued by The Canal.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And Dare to Be Wild, which is a rom-com. We've also got a Soviet Dream Team hockey documentary called Red Army, which I think looks really interesting.
Red Army.
It's set during the Cold War and stuff, during a Winter Olympics. I think that looks.
It's
really
kind
good.
of like Cool Runnings. It's a sport you're not expecting them to be involved in, or
really Russians ice hockey.
Touché. It's association with America, I guess that's the point of calling it Red Army.
Maybe it's like Cool Runnings if we're following the dudes in the red sled.
It's the politics of it, about them being a Soviet team and coming to America, presumably, isn't it? Or
yeah, it is. It's like sort of from the opposing corner of Bobby Fischer Goes to War, which is a great HBO documentary from a few years ago about chess.
I've heard of it.
Now, Films and Letters of Himmler. That looks like a doozy. That's literally a documentary.
Which one's that?
It's Films and Letters of Himmler.
Well, okay, that's literally
about Himmler and little Super 8 footage that he made with his family and stuff, and constructing a portrait of the man. It sounds like it should be on BBC late at night.
Yeah,
but there we go. That's one that I took down. Last Man on the Moon, which I'm going to try and see because they're presenting it in IMAX as the last film on the Sunday afternoon. There's lots of doozy space footage, and it's literally a documentary. But the Last Man on the Moon, he spent I think 170 hours in space in total, 72 of which he was literally walking on the moon.
Nice.
Which is going to be fun. In old ones, we got The Crowd, In Cold Blood, and the Americanization of Emily, a film starring Julie Andrews that was released like a few months before The Sound of Music catapulted her to superstardom. Then you're not interested at all in this, but I'm interested in the Barry Lyndon screening, which is going to have Ryan O'Neill present, and
you've seen it once, you've seen it enough.
Q&A from Lenny Abraham.
I disagree. I've seen it a couple of times.
Never seen it on the big screen.
Even so, I couldn't watch it again. I just couldn't.
Other things that I'm interested in are going to be the Mark Cousins in conversation. Yeah, what don't you like about Mark Cousins?
His voice, his everything.
Oh God!
I'm sure he's a very intelligent man. He said some good stuff. I just can't stand listening to him talk.
Russell Crowe is going to be accompanying the Water Diviner.
Will he fight someone? We can only hope.
That's his directorial debut. Actually, it's his first time directing.
Yeah. Looking at the trailer for that, he might end up fighting. It looks totally rubbish.
Someone get him really drunk beforehand, please.
Oh, that looks totally like the way they pushed it at the festival launch was it's going to be kind of like Russell Crowe's Saving Private Ryan, and honestly, Saving Private Ryan was the first film to ever make me cry.
Right.
Like I'm a big Saving Private Ryan fan,
softy.
and this looks rubbish. It's, come on, Saving Private Ryan was an unrealistic enough premise as it went, but This is about Russell Crowe following his dead sons to Gallipoli. That's about... also, The Salvation is going to be a Dutch Western that they're bringing that has Mads Mikkelsen in it. Did I say Mads Mikkelsen? Mads Mikkelsen's in it. Take a look at that, everybody. That's what I'm interested in seeing this year's. Anything interesting from yourselves, lads?
Lost River I'm interested in, just because I'm sure it'd probably be terrible, but...
The Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling directed the movie. It looks very kind of influenced by Lynch and Nicholas Winding Refn. And if you see the trailer for it, it actually looks like it's amazingly well shot. It looks really intriguing, but it's been getting terrible reviews. It was booed at Cannes, so it's
everything gets booed at Cannes.
When people boo things at film festivals,
especially Cannes, it's just, no one takes
it's a
that
sign
seriously.
of honor, is it? Or rite of passage, I guess. I don't know. It's like, but no, but I mean, I really want to see it.
You can boo things on moral grounds. To be honest, I would have booed if I was at a film festival at the first airing of the Mandingo fight sequence in Django Unchained, which I found genuinely offensive. But when people boo, when I heard that there was booing at the end of the Tree of Life, it's like, what?
I'll be honest. At the end of that one, I was debating booing that one too in the cinema.
Well, no, because I didn't like the Tree of Life, but can you imagine for me it's the equivalent of I find art galleries extremely boring. So
right.
what am I going to do? Just show up at art galleries and woo, this is rubbish.
Like a football
painting going boo.
This is awful. I was once at a Stereophonics concert where Kelly Welshman, who looks like a goat, their singer, he was giving out to the crowd. I won tickets to this. I'd never go to a Stereophonics gig. Who's giving out to the crowd because they weren't responding well enough. That deserves a boo.
What?
That deserves a boo.
Look, I mean, the way to sell this, go see Lost River at JDiff. We'll all see what it's like.
We'll all boo it together at JDiff.
I won't.
The other thing I was looking at was...
When it got booed at Cannes, I was delighted because it was like when I heard and when I read half of the moronic James Franco book, Palo Alto. It was like when people James Franco, I genuinely think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Now he's going directing previously, the work of Cormac McCarthy has proved very difficult to get right, and he's going directing one now. And he decided he's writing a book. No, stick to what you're good at. And when I heard that Lost River had failed spectacularly, I was delighted because I don't even think Ryan Gosling is that good of an actor. I think he's a great shut the fuck up and do what you're told.
All right,
yeah, which is why he makes great Nicholas Winding Refn films. I really don't think he's a good actor. I think Hitchcock would have loved him.
Well, he did kind of tall blonde guys.
Yeah, who shut up and do what they're told. Do you know?
Yeah.
He famously didn't like Paul Newman and loved Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart. Who would hate Jimmy Stewart though?
This is it.
Because I was looking at the Irish films that are showing at this, and I'm definitely interested in The Canal and From the Dark. They both look very promising. But I was there was an omission from it. There was an Irish movie last year called Darkness on the Edge of Town that showed at Galway. Did anyone see that?
Nope. Because it looked very good.
It was fantastic because it ended up being there was a screening of it at somebody I got to see it. It's fantastic. It's like an Irish Western set in Kerry, really good. It ended up showing at the Slam Dance Film Festival in America and got very good feedback there. So I would have thought JDiff would be showing that, because I hope it gets a cinema release at some point anyway, because I thought it was a great film. Other than that, then there was another thing that just piqued my curiosity, and JDiff was a movie from New Zealand called The Deadlands, and this is a Maori language movie that's set in Maori times before colonizers come. And the reason it looks interesting to me was because it's about these Maoris hunting a monster played by an actor called Lawrence Makware, who in the Lord of the Rings movies, whenever there was an Uruk-hai or an orc or the ring wraith, they needed some big guy to play one of the evil ones. They got him to do it, so he's basically playing the same thing.
He's still getting work, isn't it?
He's playing the same thing in this Maori movie. That sounds really interesting.
That does sound interesting. Deadlands. I had not thought of that. Maoris is a topic of always fascinated me, and ever since I've seen Apocalypto, I've wanted to see another indigenously based film. So yeah, that sounds cool. Richard,
fair enough.
Have you got anything you're interested in?
I think we've covered pretty much everything. I mean, there's that documentary about Nicholas Winding Refn, which sounds not uninteresting. It just sounds, unfortunately, like it's a featurette from the DVD you only got for Games. They just didn't put out and put it in cinemas, but yeah, I'll watch him.
We're going to bumble through just a tiny bit more news before we get on to something else. Neil Blomkamp, who's Chappie I'm going to see later this afternoon, is officially, he has the green light from 20th Century Fox. He's going to make an Alien movie. They're going to pretend 3 and 4 don't exist.
Well, they might be. They're kind of backtracking on that now.
To be honest, I'd be perfectly in favour of that. I know fans of both. I'm so excited about this. Well, there's never a bad reason to watch Ridley Scott's Alien, but I rewatched it last week. I'm going to watch Aliens this week. I'm going to watch all of them up until...
Director's cut or theatrical cut?
Pardon?
Director's cut or theatrical cut of Aliens?
Aliens. Director's cut.
Really?
Always, yeah. Well, no, I'm a huge fan. I'll actually... Because I've got the Blu-ray. I'm going to watch the extras and everything. By the way... as far as movie extras go and making of, you can't get much better than Aliens. It's really, really...
I have the anthology box set at home. I've never touched the feature section because it's like 3 discs. I'll get to it though.
It's really, really good.
So the features of the second one, Aliens, you're saying? Okay.
Well, all of them really, I think.
Just watching what a total hard-ass Cameron was for the English crew is really fascinating, because they were Scott's crew from Alien, and if you know anything about the way James Cameron makes movies, he just showed up and he likes to consider like the project to be everybody's project. So when people aren't on board, like there's a gas into like when they wouldn't work past guild hours. So he looked up guild regulations on what food he had to give them, and very interesting stuff, like a war of wills going on the set. Excellent. But I'm going to work the whole way through to the Alien versus Predator, and probably even Prometheus, which I actually really like because I'm so freaking excited about this.
Like, what was great for me about the original Alien movies was that Ripley was a great character in that, like, she'd been through such horrible things, and yet she never like moaned about it. She always just sort of got on with things. That, like, when she had every right to go, "Oh, leave me alone, I've had a hard life," she just kept going. So she was a real like badass heroine. So my question about this new version is Sigourney Weaver going to be back in any capacity at all?
Oh yeah, she's back.
She is.
She's totally confirmed that.
So what premise are they going with?
No one really knows yet. There was some concept art, but
basically he did the concept art when he worked with her on
Chappie,
it
was during Chappie, wasn't it? I heard
she was in Elysium with him as well. She was
that was
Jodie Foster.
Oh yeah, sorry,
with the ridiculous accent.
Those two.
Those two.
Preposterous accent. It was. Yeah.
But apparently he came up with the idea years ago. The concept art is something they've been working on privately.
But it was a weird story because it sounded like the concept art leaked, and then the internet went, "Oh, it looks really good," and then suddenly went, "Oh, greenlight it quickly."
It was the same thing with the Deadpool footage, essentially.
That's actually very true. Yeah.
It's just like they were so. Basically, they must have an intriguing concept. To be honest, for me, the most intriguing concept that there's ever been for an Alien movie wasn't made in the form of Alien 3. They were going to set it
the
on
big
a
wooden
planet. That sounded fascinating. But it's just another one of those unmade classics, from one unmade classic to another. Last week I had a dream. I had a dream of what I would do next on this podcast. So I went and dug out Jodorowsky's El Topo with the purpose of talking about it, because basically...
Did you know?
It's an awkward segue that I'm using to get off Alien and the unmade thing, because Jodorowsky's famously unmade Dune film, which was covered in the decent enough Jodorowsky's Dune documentary directed by Frank Pavage there a couple of years ago, which was very interesting.
It was very good.
And your man who made the other thing with the cartoon dogs, you know the one.
You've lost me completely.
You know the what's it called?
All Dogs Go to Heaven?
No, it's about it's set in dreams, and it's like an animated documentary from a few years ago. Oh, you do know this.
Waltz with Bashir?
Waltz with Bashir.
There's no dog. Oh, there is dogs in that. Okay, fine.
Okay.
That was a...
Yeah, but he's actually going to direct Jodorowsky's original concept art in an animated version of Dune. But I watched the film that made Jodorowsky famous in the first place, El Topo, and so did you.
By pure happenstance. I did too at the same time.
No, I called Richard after my dream. I have a tendency to do that. And
it's very reassuring.
By the way,
his voice in the morning.
Anybody who didn't get the reference, that's what Jodorowsky claims. He said he dreamed about the book Dune, and then he woke up and went and bought it, read it in a day, wrote the screenplay, blah blah blah.
You can't read Dune in a day.
Basically, God, this is a load of nonsense. Like, it's an interesting failure at best. Like, when I was reading about the film after I watched it, it said that it was considered the world's first underground film.
That's such a nebulous term, though. What the hell does that even mean?
What does that mean? It should have stayed underground as well. This is total nonsense. Somebody gave this man too much money. Because it looks like...
Do you think so, though? It looked pretty cheap, I thought.
I mean...
A lot of squibs, and that's about it.
A lot of...
Hey, look, there's a desert. Put up a wall there. There's a set.
Very gory.
Yeah, but it was great. I really enjoyed it.
He's a terrible actor.
Jodorowsky himself. It kind of wavered, because I didn't like him in the first 2 movies of that movie, but by the 3rd or 4th movement of it... I thought when he was the bald monk, he was okay. I didn't buy him as the gunslinger, though.
No. No, he like the first lines of the movie are some of the most.
That was really funny, actually.
What is it? You are 7 years
You're
old
a man now.
You are a man now.
Bury
Bury your
your
favorite toy in a picture of your mother. What?
I want to say that to someone I meet on the road sometime. I think it's a fantastic line.
Based on people who've heard Richard on this podcast before, and you know what sort of films he's into.
I'm sorry for
Richard.
everything.
Richard recommends. Donnchadh does not.
I'm not sure I'd recommend it, but I don't hate it the way you do. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. It was weird.
It just made me sort of glad that he never got to make his Dune film.
But have you seen Lynch's Dune though? Because I mean, I prefer to watch
rubbish.
Yeah, I prefer to watch his weird one than Lynch's kind of boring one.
I prefer to watch my own version. I think I'd make a decent.
The one in your head or the Stickman, yeah.
The sci-fi version isn't terrible. It just didn't have much of a.
There's a sci-fi version?
Sci-Fi Channel made a 3-part miniseries of it. Yeah.
God.
Whose recent Ascension actually wasn't too bad.
I still haven't got around to that yet, but I say ruined. You told me the twist at the end of episode 1, and that sounds actually quite interesting, so I wouldn't mind seeing it.
No, it was infuriating, but then I watched the other 2 episodes. Anyway, actually, keeping on TV, because I haven't been able to get up to as many press screenings, so I've been catching up on an awful lot of television. The Blacklist is a doozy. It's like an R-rated Joss Whedon show. I would genuinely recommend it.
I can't know that the premise is the Silence of the Lambs, like, creepy old psychopath finds young nubile lady to help him do crime stuff.
Like, it is dumb. But
James Spader in a thing with a hat.
That's it exactly. You've got the concept. James Spader catching criminals and being all like, ooh, there's this cheeky connection with me and this young girl. Just in case anybody who watches it isn't like you should get the mid-season one twist straight away, but it's like totally dumb. Essentially what you're watching it for is James Spader chewing up scenery, and it's totally worth it. Also what I've been watching, which I'm loving, is Fortitude. I really recommend it.
I'm not far into it yet, but I am quite enjoying it.
Yeah, that whole Nordic noir spin on things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a crime is committed, but it's like you everybody knows everybody in Fortitude. So it's
and there's ancient mystical mammoth bones.
Yeah, and what they're doing to people, it's gas. I'm hoping it doesn't go somewhere dumb. I'm hoping there's like a real.
I could see this going like zombie virus, because it seems like the way it keeps kind of cutting out the shots of it thawing out. Like, there's going to be a virus now, isn't there? And then it's going to infect everyone in like a town of rabies-infested weirdos.
If it goes from dusk till dawn, I'll hate it.
I would too, but I can see it going that way. It feels like they're going for a quasi-mystical kind of True Detective style thing. So I
haven't hated many things as much as I've hated From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh wait, the show or the movie?
The movie. I didn't watch the show. Okay. I just hated it. It's just it's such a good movie at the start, and then it just descends into stupidity. And I've also been watching Better Call Saul, which is great. I
haven't watched it.
Yeah, it just keeps getting better. I love Breaking Bad, and I'm liking this even more. Now it's on to the all-important part, what people tune into. Our opinions on the latest movies. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
2 hours later. So here's what you tuned in for.
Everybody's seen Jupiter Ascending, yeah?
Indeed we have.
Yep. Yeah, okay. So I will sum it up as best I can.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
I'll jump in where it needs be.
Jupiter Ascending, the Wachowskis' latest contribution to the world of cinema, is essentially Dune done by William Gibson.
No, what it is it's Under the Skin, but dumber. It's the same basic plot as Under the Skin, but
Under the Skin was an excellent film.
It was, by comparison. Not by comparison.
But the best thing about this, and I've heard some critics complain about it, hold on, we better start. Oh yeah, so this family who owns an intergalactic enterprise harvests and sells genes.
Like human essence or some nonsense.
And essentially Earth is a big factory that they made. And like total.
It's a people farm, and
Eddie Redmayne
walks around whispering an awful lot.
Eddie Redmayne
like this with a croak in his voice, and
he's very odd.
He with like whispers all the way.
The
through.
more I think about it, the more I enjoyed him in hindsight. I think.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I would have preferred though if it was a more theatrical, over the top.
But he screamed a bit near the end. There was some screaming near the end.
Yeah, but I think like. I know you and I, Richard, we've talked before about like actors like Willem Dafoe or Ava Green and how they're brilliant at doing like over the top acting, whereas I kind of felt like Redmayne, the whispering thing was just weird, especially in scenes where you couldn't actually hear what he was saying. That was annoying, like for me. But he's the first actor to win an Oscar the same month as being in Jupiter Ascending, though. So I mean, fair play to him, I guess.
Yeah. And that'll never happen again because Jupiter Ascending is literally a one-time thing.
Yeah. Unless it makes like World War Z inexplicable amounts of money and they make like 10 sequels.
It's flopped though, kind of badly financially. So
that's a little disappointing to hear. I kind of hope for a sequel.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind I'd maybe a cartoon or a comic would do this.
Yeah, probably a comic actually. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was it had potential, but in the end, it was incredibly dumb. It was like for me, and it was slightly less boring than John Carter, but it was one of the worst feelings of being in a cinema. Is just sitting there and thinking, God, if you don't only had a bit of cop on. I mean, and I'm also like, there's so many moments in it where like I'd love to like get the person who. There was people in an editing room at some point pointing at a screen of a giant Mac screen, just going, yeah, that's a really good idea. What you're doing right there is a really good idea, and I'd like to slap them and take their salary. Like, that's nonsense.
Is it worth pointing out how this was supposed to be released last summer, then Warner Brothers delayed it until February? So there's all these theories about like how different is the edit compared to what the Wachowskis wanted, or is this what the Wachowskis wanted, or it's kind of because like it feels weirdly it feels like an assembly cut of a movie, or it feels like, you know, like maybe if it had been longer, like it might have made more sense, or it might have been better, which is a weird thing to say about any movie. But it's just like,
I'm not sure I get the assembly cut theory, because the only bit that feels out of place is the Terry Gilliam cameo and the whole kind of Brazil subplot there for like 5 minutes. Like it's great, but where does it come from?
Yeah,
there's no context for it.
All it was an open-ended tribute to Brazil.
Yeah,
oh
look, there's Terry Gilliam. Why is he here?
It was a different film.
Yeah, it literally was.
It was that. It was so. Mila Kunis was glaringly miscast.
I thought she was okay. I thought she was fine.
No, dum dum. Dio O'Donoghue does a great review. I'd really recommend it. She pretty much sums up the way I feel about this film. I knew it was going to be shite. Rory Moore, my co-host, was.
I saw it with Rory actually, and the both of us actually, I think, for the first hour were enjoying it, because like when the first big space battle happens, no, not in IMAX, in 3D, and it was terrible. The 3D is shocking bad because the subtitles are all blurry, so it's horrendous. But anyway, during the first big kind of space battle in Chicago, both of us were sitting there giggling as school children because it was so preposterous that it was great. But by the second hour, when you've had like 40 odd minutes of just endless space battles, like, just end.
Oh yeah,
especially the end. The big kind of finale is the worst kind of excessive Michael Bay level CGI over the topness.
Yeah, I thought it was a giant pile of pants and worse than I thought it was going to be.
That's impressive.
And
Sean Bean doesn't die. Spoilers.
Yeah, that's all.
So they're bucking the trend one way. I mean, I think the Wachowskis have always been
Silent
innovators.
Hill about that trend too.
And I mean, I love the Wachowskis. I mean, they've made great movies, and this one was kind of it was disappointing, you know, because like it's. I mean, I feel like it had the potential to be either better or even more ridiculous, where it was just so ridiculous that it was
That's
like giggling all the way through it. Whereas there's only like some bits of it where you're kind of like, oh, this is so silly, it's great. So
it's gas. Where are they getting the money from? Because like of all the like. You know, the big complaint about Hollywood these days is that, like, there's no original storytelling. Now, this is original storytelling, but like, was that the only reason they took it? Is like, did somebody go, oh, they're giving out of us for not taking original storytelling?
They're world building.
I'll show them. Give me that piece of shit you wrote there.
There's a lot of world building in the movie, so I think they saw there was a potential for another franchise in it. Like, I guess.
But like, was this American funded, or was this like, because wasn't Cloud Atlas sort of funded by Germany or something?
It was funded by a bunch of different places. Yeah, that's why Tom Twyker ended up.
Yeah. So was this the same? Because Tom Twyker was involved in this as well, wasn't he? In some capacity. So was it American funded? I think he was
producer. I think or something, but
probably just means they're mates.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a big from me for Jupiter Ascending. Not that you would, but don't go see it. Do go see. I was very disappointed. I was supposed to interview the producer of this, who's a hero of mine, Shaun the Sheep. Now, I'm a big Aardman fan. If you're not, you're bad at watching movies, quite frankly. Shaun the Sheep is the feature-length outing of a character that was introduced in probably the second best thing Aardman ever did, I'm going to say, A Close Shave. I think the best thing they ever did was The Wrong Trousers. Both Wallace and Gromit shorts. I love Aardman. I just last week rewatched Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists. If you haven't seen that, definitely.
I've seen almost nothing they've made, which is disappointing, I know. I think I've seen Curse of the Were Rabbit, and that's probably it.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah,
it
was good.
Terrific.
I fell asleep in the middle, but that's because it was a film studies lecture and it was evening times. But it wasn't not because it was boring, because I fell asleep. But it was good.
I was supposed to meet Phil Lord, and it's probably a good thing that I didn't for the interview, because I would have gushed way too much. I mean, I was meeting what's his face from Kevin Hart from The Wedding Ringer the same week, and I wouldn't have been all.
I thought you were joking about that. You actually met him?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I wouldn't have gushed at all star-wise over Kevin Hart, but Phil Lord, I wouldn't have been able to ask a straight question. And this did not disappoint. This is really hilarious. If you've seen the cartoon, it's pretty much more of the same. Basically, the farmer, he gets knocked out and wakes up to think he's some sort of like fantastic singer dancer type, and he goes gallivanting all over the town, and the farmer animals have to get him back. They of course don't speak, they just make emotive sheep noises.
Yes,
it's all very, very funny. Honestly, like Aardman were making Pixar movies before Pixar started making movies, just like genuine films with great laughs, who basically, like, they're very much for kids and adults. They're essentially just very entertaining films for a general audience. There's a hilarious nod to the Shawshank Redemption in it, which I'm not going to spoil for you. But
because
really,
kids will get that reference. But like, it does
is
look
there an
good
issue
from
with
bits
kids not getting a reference in a film?
From bits I've seen of it, is it like mostly non-verbal?
It's
like it's
almost completely non-verbal.
Yeah, because I mean that looks great. It looks like that kind of comedy, pulling that off. I mean, looks great. So yeah.
But I'd like, as far as I would be concerned, jokes which kids don't get in a film, in a children's film, has always been the making of a great kid.
If they're there for the adults and it's done well,
it can go too far. Like, remember the Lego Movie last year, there were complaints of kids. I actually remember when I saw it the second time around, there was kids clearly bored in cinema because those references were not for kids. And I think if you can go too far with it, like it's too adult centric, it just fails as a kids movie.
Are you giving out about the Lego Movie?
No, it's probably my favourite film of last year, if not top 3. But just as a kids film, it kind of fails.
I know all kids I know who love it.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like
I know kids who love it. Yeah.
I just don't know kids. I guess just weirdos.
Relatives, Richard.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit because just to talk about things that you wanted to discuss with me personally. Thank you very much. First of all, we're going to go the route of Kingsman, because I discussed it openly here. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's been out for long enough now that we can probably spoil things, but I absolutely loved it. I mean, I'm a big
spoilers
Matthew
from here
Vaughn,
on.
yes.
Just close your ears for the next few minutes, because there's something brilliant about the ending that we really need to discuss.
There's many brilliant things about the ending. There's one really terrible thing about the ending. But anyway, yes, I love Kingsman. I'm a big fan of anything Matthew Vaughn does, anything Mark Millar writes, usually. So any combination of him, Millar, Vaughn, and Jane Goodman, I'll watch. It didn't disappoint. The first hour, I kind of like, this is alright, this is good. Then the church scene happens, and from there to the end, I was just smiling.
It's a great kind of love letter to John Woo. That
I clapped in the
magical.
cinema. It was glorious. It was
really, really cool.
Oh, so we can't boo at Cannes, but we can clap at Kingsman.
Yes!
Double standards.
I'll tell you what, no, I'm a big fan of like high-fiving during the Fast and Furious franchise.
You're such a dude, bro. You disgust me. All respect is gone, Donnchadh.
You don't like the Fast and the Furious franchise?
I haven't seen them since the second one, but I wouldn't high-five anyone at the cinema, unironically.
I like Vincent Diesel. He's good.
My big fivers for that sort of stuff are the Fast and the Furious and the Mission Impossible franchise. I'm a huge fan of that. Great.
They're actually, I quite enjoy those.
I just love the way they have a different director's canvas every time. I really find that an interesting approach, as opposed to the way the Bond movies go. The Bond movies kind of follow the crowd. Look at the cocaine 70s. But I'm a huge Bond movie fan. But
which actually, segueing back to Kingsman, I think that's the reason I loved it so much, because it was literally everything I could want in a Bond movie in one movie. Like at the point at the end,
it was almost a lawsuit.
It was like bits of the score are just taken straight from David Arnold, straight from it. All of it. Yeah. But no, but the bit near the end where they're flying and they finally see Samuel Jackson's big base and it's a big mountain fortress. I literally just had a giant smile. This is all I wanted from a Bond movie for the last 10 years. A mountain fortress. Thank you, movie.
Well, I'll tell you what now. Things that I kind of had an issue with.
Yeah, let's nitpick it first and then go for the gushiness.
We can't talk about it for too long either, but
No.
Samuel Jackson lisping, what the Christ was that?
You'd mentioned that to me before I saw it, and when I was watching it, it did kind of bug me. I sort of forgot about it as I went along, but every time he started talking again, I did sort of kind of go, oh yeah, the lisp.
Why did they do that?
I didn't mind it. Like, what bothered me more was the fact that his plan. He was a climate change activist,
His
basically,
plan
and
was
they made
brilliant.
him out to be a villain.
You shut your whore mouth.
And it's just, but like, this is the whole thing. No. But the weird thing about the ending, his plan kind of works, doesn't it? Because not everyone dies, but at least 500 million people were killed off. So that might have helped the global warming. His approach to
hold on, how were 500 million people killed?
Because
that's a high estimate.
The SIM card is going off, and there were definitely some people who died, but not as much as he would have liked.
I'd say it was probably less than
Certainly less than $500 million.
Yeah, a few million at most, I'd say. 'Cause it was only going for a few minutes. I mean, I know there's that one shot of that bus just pancaking people.
It's kind of, I mean, politically, this kind of, and you know, I can't stay mad at this movie because it has scenes like the church scene or the skydiving scene or the heads exploding. There are brilliant moments where I'm like, I can't stay mad at you.
Exploding.
You see, I wasn't when it first
I
started.
liked a bit more splatter.
Yeah, when it first started, I was like, oh, it's all colourful and weird. But as it went on and like the music kind of started crescendoing, I was like, no, you know what? I actually like this choice stylistically.
Yeah, no, the pomp and circumstance was pretty cool.
Yeah, no,
I just think politically, though, I mean, it's kind of coming from this kind of South Park place of humor where they're making fun of everyone, like, and so, I mean,
because before you saw it, you texted me saying, "Should I go see this? I've heard it's UKIP the film." I was like, "Where did you hear that?"
There was there were reviewers talking about it as like it's being like the cinematic equivalent of UKIP. That's just trying to be all jokey and stuff, but it's actually no. There are undertones to this that are really dodgy, but I see it and it's just like, oh, I can't stay mad at you. You killed.
Apart from for the ending, I was very annoyed at the ending. I know. Look, it's
the very last scene. Yes,
look, it's a Roger Moore era Bond joke taken to its logical endpoint, but it's just
stuff like that is dodgy. You know, it's just the execution of it. You can kind of see where they were coming from.
Oh no, yeah, I know it's supposed to be laughed at, not with, but you just know for a fact when we set like 15-year-old boys in the audience kind of going. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I was glad I wasn't the victim of that joke. I'll say that because it wasn't notoriously sexist.
Funny enough, Vaughn has tried to defend it by saying that he made the woman instigate it. I'm like, that's fair enough, but no,
that's one of the most moronic defenses I've ever heard.
It's
like. What he was like, no, she said she wants it, which gives her the power, and it's like, he sketches a cheap stereotype of Swedish girls. Moving very quickly, I want you to talk about, because I betted you wouldn't like it, talk about Inherent Vice.
Yes, Inherent Vice. I caught this at what I think was literally the last screening of the IFI, and I went into it thinking, oh, I'm not going to like this. It's 2.5 hours of my life I'm not going to get back. The opening, let's say, 5 minutes before the title comes up? Probably 5 minutes. I was genuinely losing patience with it. I couldn't understand what they were saying. The dialogue was so muffled and mumbly. I didn't have a clue what was going on. The plot, I was like, oh no, 2.5 hours of this. But once the title comes up and the story actually starts moving, it's not only quite followable, but I really enjoyed it. It was much more broadly comedic than I was expecting. I think that was the main thing.
Yeah.
You dug it. I really didn't think you would.
Yeah, okay. I hated the opening, let's say 5 minutes, and the closing, let's say 2 minutes.
I think with the opening, I think there was a problem, and like I've done sound recording before. I think there was some kind of problem with sound, especially around this one actress who played Joaquin Phoenix's girlfriend,
Shasta?
Catherine Waterston, or names like that.
Catherine Waterston, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. Any scene she was in, I couldn't understand what she was saying. There was some kind of sound problem with her, and for me that's a flaw of the movie, in that she's almost like sets him off on this journey he goes on. So she's, in a way, she's the emotional core of the movie, but if she's just kind of bland and you don't really get a sense of her as a character, then that's kind of a...
No, I think with the sound recording issue, that it was intentional.
He
was going for like this retro 70s, like look at the overexposed stock and all that crap. I think the sound issues were
probably... Her is a little flame that you... I think she was a sort of a great casting for that, because she didn't have much of a character going on for her, but she was, especially given the way the film was shot, she was incredibly beautiful and sort of cat-like to look at. And I thought that's kind of... That's the dream. That's what the film is going for. The film is going for the elusive dream of the 60s that never was. Now, one thing I'll ask before we move swiftly along is I've read the book. There was an insert scene in it, which for me tied a meaning to the film and the book that wasn't initially there, and it made me finally get the whole thing. This is why I was so enthused about it, because the book kind of confused me a little bit. It's the scene where Bigfoot kicks down the door, comes in and eats all the weed.
Yeah, it was from that point onwards I was very confused and it lost me. That was very funny. Like, I laugh at a lot of that, but I was like, I don't know what's happening here. I'm just gone.
You see, I think
they made the connection, basically, right? What Phoenix regularly dug so much about the LAPD in the end, the reason he wanted to go on and finish the case, is that what he mentioned, the bond between partners, which is something that basically himself and Bigfoot kind of had, and despite the fact that they were so image-wise on opposite sides of the fence, they were very much kind of the same person, but it was the constrictions of society that didn't allow them to be buddies in the way they would, which is the reason why he forcefully came in and ate all the weed to try and kind of get it and make the connection. And I think it was genius what Anderson did, because basically beforehand the book, when I read it was like, this doesn't lend itself, and the only reason I read it was because Anderson was making the film, and I was like, this does not lend itself to cinema. But when he inserted that, it made sense to me why he had made the film at all. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great. I mean, it definitely, you're watching it, the vibe of it is like it's a drug-induced haze. Like it simulates what being stoned is like, because it's so disjointed and all, but like in a really good way. I think it was entertaining.
I'd say of the 3 PTA movies I've seen, it's probably my favourite.
Really?
Great soundtrack.
Which have you seen?
This, The Master, which I just didn't care for, and
Me neither.
Boogie Nights.
Oh, really? You'd rather it to Boogie Nights?
Yeah, like Boogie Nights is great. That was a really good movie too. But I think I'd probably prefer this. I think it was just
I love
funnier.
everything he's
It
ever
was just
done. My
funnier.
favourite film he's made is There Will Be Blood, but I really enjoy
There Will Be
this.
Blood is great. Yeah.
And go move along. I'm going to ask you each to talk in your turn about the Duke of Burgundy,
Okay.
which I haven't seen.
I'm worried about summarising this one because it seems like every review I've read, and even like the IFI's little kind of newsletter thing, kind of gives away the opening gambit. But I'm not sure that's a problem. What do you think?
No, because I knew it going into.
I had read it before I saw it, but I'd forgotten about it. And then when I was watching it, I remembered it kind of as the first scene was happening. Anyway, okay, the point is, it's set in this little community, and I've forgotten all of the actresses' names.
Okay,
You go.
Doesn't matter.
Lady 1 and older lady 2.
Oh my god! No, one of them is the actress. She's the lead actress from the Danish
Borgen
TV
lady,
show
yeah.
Borgen, who plays Prime Minister on it. She was great. The other actress is Chiara Diana, is an Italian actress.
Okay, so Borgen lady and non-Borgen lady are
great.
living in a house together. Non-Borgen lady is her maid, so it seems. But then it's quickly revealed that it's all this kind of weird BDSM, performative community. So you knew that going in anyway. So yeah, so it's not really an issue.
Yeah, like it starts off thinking it's like a woman being really mean to her maid. It turns out that the one being the maid, they're in an S&M relationship, and she's instructing her on like what she wants in this S&M role play, down to like what dialogue to say. So it's a sort of exploration about that, brilliantly counter-programmed with 50 Shades of Grey. It was like released a week after 50 Shades of Grey, showing, no, this is what S&M is actually like. Go see this instead. So I mean, that was great sort of timing for the release. And
but like beyond that, there's not really much summation you can give to it, other than that it's a lot of moth imagery.
Because what happens, it seems that their profession is to their job. It shows them in this village they're living in. They're like teaching at a zoology school, and there are all these lectures about moths or something. It seems to be populated entirely by women, and we had this weird theory, like what if the entire village is an
aging
S&M
lesbian moth enthusiast?
Because it was weird, because it was entirely not a single man in this movie, and
but the only job any of them have seems to be writing about moths for the local college, which only deals in moth-based lectures or something. It's
which made
very
us think
strange.
it was some kind of S&M community. So maybe there's kind of a mind-blowing reading you could look into.
But anyway,
that
back
way.
to the film itself. I loved it. It's sort of Burbian Sound Studio. I really liked, but I think this holds together better as a kind of cohesive whole.
I agree.
There's a bit near the end where it gets a bit sort of Gaspar Noé-esque and weird, and that whole moth sequence, the dream sequence. Like, it's fantastic, and it's creepy, and it's strange. I don't quite understand what happened, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. I'll probably need to watch it again, I think. But so far, I'd say movie of the year.
Yeah, no, it's really well shot, really well acted, and quite sweet. There's a lot going on thematically, but it is weird. It is a very weird movie.
No, we'd expect none less from Mr. Peter Strickland.
Indeed.
Give me a bit of a chat, Richard, about Project Almanac.
Project Almanac is basically Chronicle, but with time travel and post superpowers. A bunch of teenagers discover... Now, one of the kids is trying to get into MIT, so he's trying to make an experiment. So he goes to his dad's experiments, finds a videotape of himself at his own 8th birthday or some nonsense. Anyway, they find out that his dad has like a Tony Stark style lab in the basement, which has just been there for like 10 years. They didn't bother looking at it, and he's a time machine sitting there. So they go off, and it's an MTV Movies production, so they go to like, I don't know, what did he used to? Is it Hullabalooza? I think it's Hullabalooza. It's one of those things, and oh, look how fun life is, blah 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 blah. That
sounds awful. It sounded good at the start, but now it sounds awful.
Wait with me. I actually think that was probably the best bit of it. The film was at its strongest when they were just indulging in kind of cathartic time travel abuse. Once it tries to kind of resolve itself and have the whole, the responsibility of having this power, blah blah, then it just goes to hell, and it's this bizarre kind of mad dash for a finale in like 10 minutes. It doesn't resolve itself at all well. The lead actor, whose name I've forgotten, is actually really good. And the one thing I'll say in its favour is it's ruined the trailer, but there's the time travel paradoxes. When they indulge with them, the visual for it, it's really creepy, and I wish they'd done more of that. But if you're like 16, I'm sure it's probably good. I thought it was fine, but I'm like an aging cynic, so I don't know.
No. I'm willing to take you on board on this one. What else am I free to talk about? Like I said, I've been working on my own thing, but I would like to talk about two very quickly now. Well, three. I'll go with three. In lieu of the Oscars, I went to see Selma with somebody. I thought David was...
no, hang on.
Oyelowo. Yeah, I don't have
that
the time
fine.
to learn these things. Was very good. I thought the bridge sequence was very good. I thought aside from that it was very boring. I thought it was a film that was kind of interesting. I heard a lot of interviews with him beforehand, and I know that Steven Spielberg owns the rights to those speeches, so they had to construct their own around Martin Luther King's vocal parameter, which was quite interesting. But they kind of covered all the bases that you would like them to about for what you know about his life, but they just didn't do it so well as like the likes of, let's say, Richard Attenborough's film about Gandhi or Bertolucci's The Last Emperor.
I love Gandhi. I mean, and like what Gandhi did, it's one of my favorite films. And over the course of 3 hours, it goes through 55 years of his life, and it just does it so well. With Selma, the approach is just focusing around the events of Selma and this specific campaign in Alabama.
It was more modernist and epic in its approach, isn't it? It kind of tried to funnel what you'd like to hear about him into this one very interesting incident. What my issues with it was, it was kind of boring in parts, quite frankly. It got very talky, and then when it was good, it was electric. The reasons that I would recommend it are for the music, the bridge sequence, and the performance. And if you don't know a great deal about Martin Luther King, it's actually that sounds
like a decent praise you're giving it there.
It's relevant, yeah, but man, it's kind of boring. Like that's the thing. I mean,
like, I'd recommend it
in the same way. I'd give it the same recommendation as I would the Sam Mendes film, Revolutionary Road. It's very interesting in a lot of ways. It's well shot.
It existed to this
but yeah, exactly. But it's kind of boring. It's very forgettable. But I'll tell you what. When it comes to this sort of film, if you want a good means to teach somebody who knows absolutely nothing about Dr. Martin Luther King,
sounds fair enough. Yeah.
This is a good way to go. It's not in any capacity memorable. The best thing about it for me was basically seeing Oprah Winfrey get bludgeoned in the face. That was good.
You've sold me on it already.
I did enjoy that. It was nearly as good. By the way, interesting. It reminded me of one. I think a great film by Christopher McQuarrie, Wave the Gun.
Right.
Which is worth it alone if you just want to see Sarah Silverman get punched in the face several times. It's worth it.
Oh yeah,
it's a really, really good film. And now I'm going to move on again to a classic that I saw for the first time on the big screen. Casablanca was on general re-release, and it was in a screening populated only by kind of enthusiasts because they were just laughing at familiarity. It wasn't even the jokes like Peter Lorre whenever he said it. Everyone was like loving
that's
that.
That's horrible though. I hate when that happens in movies.
No.
Because I saw Blue Velvet once at a re-release, and it was these nerds beside laughing at every kind of meme joke line. From I was like, oh shit.
No, these weren't nerds. They were like they were kind of
Casablanca nerds.
Yeah, Casablanca. Like whenever it used to be shown on RT, I used to watch it every Christmas. I genuinely think
it is a great movie.
It's just such a perfect film. And like, oh god, like nobody can deliver some of the lines that Bogey does. Quite like my favorite one this time around was. You done some great work, Victor. Well, I try. Everybody tries. You succeed. That's just, God, it's just. They don't make movies like that anymore, quite obviously, because it's awesome. And the other one that I saw, which is going to be my film of the week, is Savage Stories. Well, no, it's translated directly from the Argentinian. It's Savage Stories. The English re-release title is Wild Tales. It's an Argentinian anthology film about just sheer madness and human badness. It's really, really worth a shout, especially if anybody interested in becoming a filmmaker themselves. It's pretty much a collection of a really good short films. Because short films and short stories should be just about moments. And let me tell you, fair enough, the final story, which is maybe about 45 minutes long, is more of a novella. But so far, it's easily the best thing I've seen on screen this year. It's set around a wedding, and it's just generally about just badness in human nature, and it's really, really cool like that. So, lads, whether it be in the cinema or otherwise, new or old, best thing you saw in the last week?
Either Big Hero 6 or Snowpiercer, I suppose.
Cool beans. I love Snowpiercer. Tilda Swinton.
I'd heard about it before, and I'd kind of been a bit skeptical about seeing it, but I really did enjoy it. Like, it was. I know you're saying Chris Evans is great. I don't think he's that good in it. He's a bit bland, but everyone else is fantastic. The plot makes no sense. The ending is horrible, but
great crack though.
Oh yeah, it's a great action movie. Wonderful soundtrack. It's just
like as they meander through
nonsense.
Nonsense. Like
the bit when they go into the freight train and it's just this army of guys in like black hoods holding axes. Like, where did they come from? Where were they hiding?
And do they just walk through the sushi bar? Like when everyone's there eating sushi, they're like, oh right, sorry, you're just on the way to to wreak bloody murder on the poor people.
Pretty much,
I'm
just in case of the revolt. Yeah.
I want to see this. When is it in the cinema?
Yeah, it
well
famously
gone.
missed the cinema.
Because Harvey Weinstein was a dick about it.
Was a dick about it. Yeah, totally. Best thing you saw in the last week, new or old?
Oh, that would have to be a tie because I had the luxury of seeing 2 movies, one after the other in the IFI. There was White God and It Follows. White God being this Hungarian movie which starts off as this kind of... it starts off as this lassie come home kind of thing where like a girl is separated from her dog and it's in a dog pound and you think, oh, this is going to be one of those like Disney movies, but then it's like Until They Rise Up, and then it's the dogs overrunning the city, and it's like Planet of the Apes but with dogs. And
do they have machine guns on horseback?
It's no, but they are running through the streets of Budapest, and it's really well shot, and everything's really well set up, and really good. And then in a similar vein, It Follows is, I mean, if you like horror movies, you should like this, because It Follows is it's a teen horror movie about a sexually transmitted disease of sorts, where you'll be followed by a kind of apparition that takes different forms.
I'm dying to see It Follows, but the trailer made me laugh because it looks like The Thing following her. So this is half-naked guy in a jockstrap standing on a rooftop staring at her like that. What?
It changes appearance a lot, but it's just again,
fine.
It's really well shot. The music is this old synth music that has that sort of 70s vibe.
Excellent.
In fact, pretty much everything about the production design and everything, it gives a 70s vibe, except one character has a smartphone that's like in the shape of a shell, which would suggest it's set slightly in the future, but everything else about it has this kind of timeless feel about it, and I just think it's really
Sounds
well
good.
shot.
It looks
really good example
intriguing.
of
I'm
horror
really looking forward to watching that, to be quite honest. And the best thing that I saw in the last week, sorry lads, it kind of trumps all you old hoes. I rewatched No Country for Old Men, and it was just brilliant. It's actually the best watching I've done of it. But aside from that, I'll have to go Wild Tales, and I really recommend people see it. Now, lads, if for the next time you're in the cellar, you can maybe come back and we can all think of a good anthology movie. Have you seen the Twilight Zone movie?
No.
Oh, well, there you go. There's
right then, I'll watch that.
Have you seen 4 Rooms?
I've heard of it, haven't seen it.
Ah, well, there you go. I haven't seen 4 Rooms either, but I'm not going to watch that one. Oh, no, actually, I'll watch 4 Rooms. Have you seen A Touch of Sin?
Touch of Sin? What's that one again?
Chinese movie.
No.
Anthology stories from last year. One of the best films I saw last year, in fact. All right. We all good with our homework?
Sounds good.
All right, lads, we're going to go try and find Rory Moore. If anybody does see him wandering around Dublin, he's ginger and answers to the name of Gimpy. We'll be off and we'll chat to you as soon as we possibly can. Probably sooner than usual. That is, in fact, a promise, because we're going to try and get something.
Don't lie
out.
to the people, Donnchadh.
No, we're going to get something out, especially for Jadif, which is really soon, Richard. All right. In the finer words of Mel Brooks, oh my goodness, have you ever seen such cruelty? Bye-bye.
He rode a blazing saddle, he wore a shining star. His job to offer battle to bad men near and far. He conquered fear and he conquered hate. He turned dark night into day. He made his blazing saddle a torch to light the way. When outlaws ruled the West and fear filled the land, cry went up for a man with guts to take the West in hand. They needed a man who was brave and true, with justice for all as his aim. Then out of the sun rode a man with a gun, and Bart was his name. Yes, Bart was his name. He rode a blazing saddle, he wore a shining star. His job to offer battle to bad men near and far. He conquered fear and he conquered hate. He turned dark night into day. He made his blazing saddle a torch